All right. We apologize for the delay. We had some technical difficulties, but I think we have them worked out now. So welcome to the Bossier City Council chambers. We're here today to do a workshop on our public works fees that are assessed to your water bill. Councilman Cochran sponsored a resolution at the last council meeting, ordinance, I'm sorry, which prompted the mayor's office to want to have this public discussion and talk about it. So we're going to go there to start. Councilman Cochran, do you want to address your ordinance that's on the table?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I sure will, and I don't want to take too much time with this. I don't want to steal the thunder of while we're here. I did call this ordinance, or I did put this ordinance on last week's agenda, and just to clarify why we did that, or why I did that, and how we got here, was it's not so much the premise of the original ordinance. I don't have that much differing opinion than the original ordinance. What I do differ in opinion is maybe some of the logistics of how we got here. And a couple of those things, just real quick, would be timing. You know, I don't feel that the timing was just done correctly. I don't feel that the communication could have probably been, I think the communication probably could have been handled a little bit better. Probably could have got out there ahead of it and got in front of it a little bit more. And then really just the implementation. If we're truly trying to charge per resident, each resident, I can hop on board for that. But when it happens the way it happened, unfairly, you're not just charging just those residents. They're not getting affected until the next time their lease comes up or whatever. So I thought that the pause, I thought that where we're at right now, and I will say that through this, I think it was last week, I was able to meet with the administration. Mr. Mayor, I want to tell you thank you. The administration met with me 2 separate days on 2 different occasions. We discussed this matter for a couple hours on end. One thing I'm very proud of is that we had those meetings, differing opinions for most of those meetings, and everything was cordial, everything was good. All the other things you hear about or see about, none of that kind of stuff happened this last week. And proof of another win is, look how many people we have here at City Hall tonight. So I commend the mayor and his team for not only accommodating my needs last week, but also doing this workshop today. I thank the citizens of Bossier for being here, but really the only reason I think we're here is mainly logistics. That's all I had. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so just to order of business, so we're discussing the public works fee, so we're going to try to keep commentary directly related to that so we can be efficient with our time. We're going to start off with Mayor Chandler, and his administration is going to do a presentation on the public works fee, the history behind it, what all it funds, and things like that. So we'll give them their time. After that, if the council has any questions or comments for Mayor Chandler and his administration, we'll do that. And then once we've done that, we'll open it up to a public comment period. We're going to try to limit that to 45 minutes. So we ask that anybody who wants to speak, limit your comments to 3 minutes or less and keep it on the topic at hand again so we can be efficient with our time. And also of note, we're here to do more fact gathering, to listen. So we're not going to do we're not doing any questions and answers. So if you come to the podium and ask a question, we're not prepared tonight to answer those questions. I would just ask, you can catch one of us or one of the mayor's staff after the meeting if you have a particular question, or you can always email the mayor's office and his staff will be prompt to respond to you. So I think that'll be the best way if you have questions. That way we're respectful of everybody's time and we get through this and give everybody an opportunity to speak. So with that said, Mayor Chandler and Ms. Nottingham.
Mr. President, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Real quick. I just want to put on the record that myself and Councilman Maggio are here just to listen to the discussion that is taking place and will not be taking any action after this meeting. We're just here for a fact finding for our constituents in our district.
Okay.
That we have to abstain from any further action, both of us, going forward on this matter.
10-4. And just so everybody else is clear, we're not taking any formal action tonight either, but any action that's taken in the future, Councilman Hammonds and Councilman Maggio will be abstaining. So, Mayor Chandler?
Amanda?
Good evening. Make sure I know how to operate this. I don't usually do. All right, so this is just going to give a little bit of background, and I will tell you I have learned some things as well in this fact-finding mission. So we'll start. Where do I need to point it? There we go. So we'll go over the enterprise fund, the background of the fee, services provided, the budget history, and then some alternative options and any additional information. So the enterprise fund, you'll hear sometimes it's referred to enterprise fund or proprietary fund. It's a separate fund to account for the local government's operations of covered services established and maintained in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles as described by the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. And that's from Louisiana Revised Statute. In our comprehensive report, the enterprise funds are used to account for activities in which established fees and charges are designed to recover its cost, including capital cost, such as depreciation and debt service. So Public Works, by charter, it was established in the city's charter, and it is comprised of 4 divisions. We have streets and drainage, solid waste, animal control, and herbicide and mosquito control. And there's a variety of the services and responsibilities for each of those divisions. It's quite extensive. Public Works is one of our largest departments in the city. And they cover everything from streets and sidewalks to drainage systems. They mow public areas. They're responsible for the solid waste, the curbside collection, as well as operating the recycling and drop-off station, enforcement of ordinances related to animal, fowl, and reptiles. And then they also operate chemical vegetation control along the streets and drainage systems, mosquitoes and other insects. And then they oversee any contracted services. So they do have quite a lot of responsibilities. Just one of the things that maybe the average citizen does not know or is not aware, the average intake cost at the animal services division is $233 per animal. That is for them to come through the door. When we take them in, we have to provide shots, wormer boosters, spay or neuter, rabies testing and vaccination, food, heartworm test and treatment, we microchip, and then kennel cleaning. So that's a pretty high cost when you consider the number of animals that they take in at a cost of $233 just to come through the door. So if they are there for an extended period of time, obviously those costs increase. We are responsible for maintenance along Interstate 20 and Interstate 220. That is from the Red River to Red Chute Bayou. DOTD reimburses the city for 2 mowing cycles per year, which is about $66,000 is what they reimburse. That is not what we actually spend on efforts to keep them mowed and for litter abatement. The maintenance, inspection, and repair of ditches, streets, those are including all the streets within subdivisions, sidewalks, drainage systems, and rights-of-way. And then, of course, they operate the recycling center and drop-off station, and then the chemical spraying. So just a few pictures we grabbed showing some, and I know some of the things that, that Public Works does are very public-facing, and you see them but there are a lot of things that they do behind the scenes that you may not see on a regular basis. So the history of this fee, it was actually established by Ordinance 641 of 1958. And at that time, this was for maintenance of the general cleanliness and sanitation of the city. And in the original ordinance, fees were levied per unit on multi-unit facilities. The Public Services and Sanitation Enterprise Fund was established by ordinance in 2001. So Ordinance 125 of 2001 is what made it an enterprise fund. Prior to that, all of the fees and expenses were deposited and paid from the general fund. Administration and streets and drainage, those are two of the divisions, and those are still, they do still come out of the general fund, but then all of the other divisions are funded by the Public Service and Sanitation Fund. Increases to the sanitation fee were passed by ordinance in 1978, 1985, 1988, 1989, 2005, 2013, and 2025. And the fee for all services other than curbside trash collection are covered by the Public Works fee, which is $12 per account. I will say, in the past, one of the things that we noticed, it was all included, it was just a sanitation fee. And we really felt like in order to more clearly communicate to the citizens when they look at their bill, what that fee covers, we separated out sanitation and public works. So they will, if someone does not receive curbside trash collection, then they will see public works fee on a separate line item. It's $12. So just some budget history. We went back through 2020 and our actual expenditures, and you can see revenue and expenses, and then the operating income. This is only operating expenses. This does not include capital. But you can see that there has been considerable losses over the last several years. In 2020, they had a loss of over $100,000. 2021, I will say, I don't know what accounts for it. I'm not sure if it was some of the federal funds, but it was an anomaly across the board. So we actually did much better there. I would say, I would assume some of our services may have been reduced. You know, that was, like I said, an anomaly there. 2022, a loss of over $500,000. And then 2023, we had almost $1.2 million loss. 2024, we were almost at a $2 million loss. So you see that fund balance, and those are the reserves for the Public Service and Sanitation fee, or for the fund, I'm sorry. And so you can see we've been able to absorb those losses over the years because we have had some reserves, but those are dwindling. And so we are still expected at the end of this year to have a deficit of about $125,000. And so we're still, even at the end of this year, with our revised projections, going to incur a loss and eat into more of those reserves. Some alternative options. So a property millage could eliminate the need for a public works fee. This would require a vote of the people. To cover the cost of services except for sanitation provided by Public Works, approximately 5.7 mils would be required based on the 2025 budget, and in that I did include capital expenses. And that would generate approximately $5.5 million per year. Sanitation fees would remain in place, so we would separate, and it would just be a sanitation, enterprise fund would be separate to account for those expenses. And then, I mean, the other option would be to reduce services provided, which that would definitely be a difficult decision. I think our citizens certainly get used to the services that are provided, and so a reduction in service would not be ideal either. But if you have any questions for me, I will be happy to answer what I can.
All right. Council, does anyone have any questions for Ms. Nottingham? Okay, well, I'm going to ask you one, or
Yep.
two maybe. but
Okay.
We'll see. So going back to your second or third slide,
Okay.
where it talks about the enterprise fund. And so can you explain for just the average person what it means when we have a deficit in an enterprise fund? And why is it not just so simple to grab out of the general fund to make up for that? Can you kind of
Yes,
get into
and
detail with that a little bit?
yes, and I'm pulling the actual ordinance that created the enterprise fund because it speaks to that in it. But, like our water and sewer enterprise, those are set up as enterprise funds in the charter. And the reason is we are collecting a fee, and so we want to ensure that those fees, because this is in addition to the tax dollars that we bring in and property millages, then you want to make sure that our fees are adequate to support those systems, because a lot of our other millages, 3 of the 4 millages, and then our sales tax, they are dedicated to specific things. And I apologize, I thought I had it right here. There it is. And so, in the ordinance that established it, they, in order to more accurately reflect the expenses and revenues necessary to provide the services, then they created the Public Services and Sanitation Fund. The revenues generated from these charges plus all revenues related to these services are not and have not been adequate to cover the costs provided for to provide these services. And so that's one of the things, if we grab from the general fund, we tend to make that a habit, and then there's never an appetite to raise the fees to cover the costs. And to charge the fee, that's always the intention, is that it would cover the cost of the services provided.
Okay. On the budget, 2025, we're projecting a $125,000 loss.
Correct.
Is that taken into account?
The adjustments.
The adjustment that's being voted on tomorrow?
It does not. No. And so part of that is that the fee did not start until February 1st.
Okay.
And so you can see we did not grab extra money. The fee was not increased in order to shore up, or to build our fund balance back. I mean, it really just covers the costs.
Okay. And then the cost, Ms. Williamson may have this information on her, the cost for the ordinance that's on the table tomorrow. What does that cost through the end of the year?
It is approximately $323,424 for the remainder. That's from September 1st through December 31st.
372.
So it's $80,856 per month.
Okay.
And if I can, just a few more pieces of information. In the city, we have 20,641 accounts that are assessed the $12 fee. 18,825 of those accounts are residential, and 1,816 are commercial. And then we have 51 multi-unit housing facilities, 47 are apartment complexes, with 6,360 individual units, and 4 are assisted living facilities, and there are 378 units there. Looking back on the original ordinance that implemented the fee, the intent, they levied it per unit. So I think that was the original intent. As I've looked back over all of the ordinances that adjusted rates, they always spoke to the sanitation rates. The general cleanliness and the beginning of the ordinances were always the same, but the fee increase was specific to the trash collection. And so I think that's why I think that's where it kind of got lost in translation on how it was implemented per unit, because they did not have individual trash collection at a facility like apartment complexes. And so at one time, the city provided dumpsters for them. One time we had twice a week trash pickup. But
Mics.
Okay,
There we go, they're back.
I would say, that individuals who rent single-family homes they are assessed the same $12 fee. So while I do understand, we have heard from the property owners regarding leases and the ability to amend those leases to add this fee. I would say that the other residents who are renters do not get that same, they don't have that same ability to waive that or to postpone the fee or to delay it. They have, the water bill is actually, they have to get the account in their name, and so they are assessed the fee. And when it was implemented, they were on the hook. So I think, I would say essentially that the citizens who are, either own or they are renting single-family units, they're subsidizing the services that are provided to all the residents throughout the city. And so the administration feels that the most fair way to implement this fee is to do it regardless of the type of housing that someone, where someone resides. So I do have the information. I shared it with a couple of the council members regarding the number of apartment complexes that are in each district. And so I think Ms. Ross had by far the most in her district. And so anyway, we tried to provide as much data and information as possible. And if you have any questions, I feel like I still have a lot that I'll be happy to share.
Yeah, I have another, I didn't think I was going to have any questions, but the more I've sat here and listened, the more I've thought about things. So Bossier City's not unique. We're not the only city with a public works department. That's pretty
Right.
common. How are other cities paying for their public works department? Is it,
There's a variety of ways. Some have sales tax that's dedicated to those services or to that division or department. A property millage. 3 of our 4 millages are dedicated exclusively to fire and police. We have, of our sales tax distribution, we do have one that is general alimony, the original sales tax. Let me pull it up, from 1978. And that is why 2 of the divisions are funded from sales tax, because there is a portion of one of the sales tax that goes to them. So we have an original, the original 1 cent sales tax from, it was actually 1963 and it was rededicated in 1978. And so after its debt service and then the remainder for the purpose of purchasing, constructing, acquiring, extending, or improving any public works or capital improvements. And then we have sales tax, it's a half cent from 1991. That one is distributed among 4 areas, and so 25% of that half cent is to maintain and upgrade street and drainage facilities. And so Streets and Drainage Division is funded from general fund because of that.
Is that accounted for in the expenses?
It's included in the totals,
Okay,
and I can get those numbers for you with it separated out.
okay, no, that, I mean, but.
But it is,
Regardless of what the sales tax is, the net loss that we've seen
Yes.
every year is, that's the real number.
yes.
Okay, that's all that matters.
I have a question, Chris. I
Yeah.
mean, if you don't mind, I'm just
Yeah.
thinking of what the public might be wondering. So our actual expenses seem to have raised kind of over the last 5 years. Everything costs more.
Sure.
But what is the cost driver kind of making it continually go up? I mean, 2 million or so it was going up. It's not up right now.
One of the
Right.
most significant is chemicals. With the chemical, the herbicide and mosquito control, there are significant costs there. We have looked, we have discussed the sanitation rates, and they do increase based on the CPI. However, that's separate and apart from this fee, because those rates are, and that is one of the reasons we have talked about making the sanitation fund separate. So it's very clear, because I know that has been a question that's been asked, and people feel like they're paying for services they're not getting, but that is not the case. And like I said, we can separate those out, and I can provide that data for you. But we did have the raises that were much needed and I would say much overdue that are this year. And so with that, with, all of those expenses for retirement, the benefits, we've had significant increases in our general liability insurance that's applied to each department. So there have been, I would say, a lot of the factors are completely out of the control of the department itself.
Okay. And then I have another question about the mills. So if we did, jump on the bandwagon of many other cities, what kind of expectation can people have on there? I know it's based on how much your home is worth. So it's based on how much your home is worth, but like, is there zero, I'd imagine.
Okay, so they give the revenue for each one, and so we use that total number to would,
That we came up to the
Bring in,
5.7?
yes.
Okay. And then maybe if you could find a range, I would think, if we ever did go that way, I would think the public might want to know ballpark what they can expect,
Right.
because if you're planning your bills, you don't want to be worried about a surprise bill,
Yes.
So just speaking out loud, kind of thinking that way.
absolutely.
Can we see that slide
One
in
other
the
thing,
budget?
Councilman Doyle, I'd like to speak to,
Maybe try the middle. I think hers is working.
What were you saying, Ruth?
You can come talk in mine.
Hold on, they can't talk to the audience.
Ours is working, yours may not. Just, I guess, try
I'll
loud.
just speak loud.
Yes, sir.
Another issue with millage is that the businesses pay a higher rate, and there's an equipment inventory tax that is also built in on the villages. So it's not just
Interesting.
It's not just a simple
Yes, click that
equation
switch,
of
yeah.
property tax on
Yes.
businesses and homes. It gets pretty complex, and it's a higher burden on every business.
Comparatively.
When you do a millage.
Okay, thank you. That was the one. They're looking at the expenses. Yeah, try it.
$12, right? So,
That does not cover curbside trash collection.
okay,
That's a separate fee.
okay, so it's a whole separate fee. So you increase it to $12, but a person still will have to pay if they have, trash that needs to be picked up in their home.
If they receive curbside trash collection, then they do already pay. If they have something extraordinary like limbs or things, then they can contact Public Works, and they can go and they'll make arrangements to go and pick them up with the proper equipment.
Is that a charge for that?
There may be an additional charge, but I will find out for sure, and what it's based on.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Nope. Mayor Chandler, do you have anything you want to add? or-
No, sir, I just want to thank Amanda for all that information that you gave everybody, and I appreciate it very much.
Learned a lot.
You know, and I think it's important. I think a lot of people, one of the biggest complaints I hear from constituents is the cost of the water bill. I mean, heck, if you live in Bossier City, it's $40, $50 before you ever turn the spigot on just to get the first drop of water. So anything we can do to help with that in the future, I think that is everybody's goal, but we also have to be mindful that things cost money and we have to generate the revenue or we can't provide the services either. So it's a fine line, and so this has been a productive conversation. So, all right, we will open it up to the public. Even though this is not a formal city council meeting, we're still going to ask that we follow Bossier City Council rules, so please state your name and address for the record. You'll have up to 3 minutes, but we would like to give everybody, there's a large group here tonight, so we'd like to give everybody an opportunity to speak. So the quicker we can make our comments, I'm not going to rush anybody, but let's just try to fit everybody in if we can. And then let's just be respectful of every speaker that's speaking, so we can, we're having some technical difficulty, so it may be hard for us to hear if the mics go out. So with that, Mr. Wright?
Thank you. I'm jumping here first. Gotta go get my wife here very soon. Here's some questions. Do they get the same services at the apartments that the rest of us do? If there is a reduction in the cost for those that own the apartments, is this gonna reduce the rent for those that are there? And if not, is this not gonna be just extra money given to those that have the apartment complexes? Well, it's my understanding they do get the same services. That's my understanding, so that would be a yes. Is there going to be a reduction in the rent? No, we know that's not going to be true because rent and leases are decided by supply and demand. More demand, higher rent, less demand, lower rent. So the next question will this be just a giveaway to the apartment complexes? Now, there's been addressed here just a few minutes ago about the change in occupancy, okay? We know our water bill, sewage bills, they have something which said $40 or $50 a month. They have a fixed amount that you could divide amongst all the units, whether you have 80% or 100%. This is a cost of business. There's also a part that if you have less occupancy, you're going to have less water, okay? And it's going to make this go down. This is just a normal part of business. If you have fixed costs at your business, you're going to have to take care of the cost, the amount you get in to pay for that. If you have variable costs, those are going to go up and down based on that. So this last question here, don't we already have a deficit? I'll make the enterprise fund easy for folks. It's a business. If you don't take in as much money as you spend, then you have a deficit, you're losing money, and this enterprise fund must get enough money for its services. And if it doesn't, then it's in a deficit. If you do not lower your cost, which I don't think you can do, I think y'all have gotten that pretty close. You may be able to fix something. But if you don't do that, you're required by law to bring those fees up. So why in the world, if we're getting the same services, this is not going to be a reduction in the rent because supply and demand decides these things. This is going to be just money extra in the apartment complex owners, and this is a cost of business. I could go in, if I have so many units and I have a fee for that, I can go in and estimate those costs across the board. I can also look at the estimates on how much money we are paying for water based on the units and estimate that. These are things that are just normal costs of business. If they're having problems with making all their costs, they have to raise their rent. If that's a problem, if these rent is not elastic, it's inelastic, that's just a part of business. And they're gonna have, I hear them talk about putting a fee on there. Fee, that's just an easy way to try to tell people you're gonna be paying more. That's a part of your expenses. And you're gonna, and the last thing here, and I'll leave it right here. How in the world can we give a reduction to these folks when we're in a deficit? Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And Mr. Wright, real quick, I don't think you said your name and address.
Well, I'm sorry.
I don't think you said your name, your address for the clerk.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Robert Wright, H. Wright, 6307 West Oxbow Circle. I'm also a member of the Louisiana Republican State Central Committee and the Bossier Parish Republican Executive Committee. Thank you again. Sorry I went so long.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, Alice Boyer, 5041 Highway 80, Houghton, Louisiana. I just wanted to bring to y'all's attention that on the slide that was up there, there's some revision that needs to be done to that, because based on the picture that I just took, the 2025, I think y'all said it is a budget amount it's projected, but the numbers indicate a profit in the operating income if the revenue and the expenses are correct and in the proper columns. That should reflect a positive amount there. Because as you can see, all of the other numbers under the expenses are higher than the revenue in all of the other years. But in the 2025, it's, unless the numbers were transposed or something, but it should show a positive amount of operating income, which I kind of think would probably be in line with the budgeted, showing a little bit of a profit, not just an exact. And the fund balance probably needs to be corrected because there seems to be a number missing.
I believe,
It's missing
my
a
apologies,
zero.
I believe revenue and expenses, those numbers are transposed, so they should be flipped. So the revenues should be the
Okay.
The 42.6.
Back,
Yes.
so the negative's right.
Yes,
The numbers
yes.
are off. And then there's a digit missing on the, I thought.
On the
I
fund
thought that
balance
too.
column.
yes,
I
there
just
is.
assumed it was.
I apologize, yes. And I'll get what that is. I'll get it
Okay, all
corrected.
right,
Thank you, I
okay,
appreciate
okay,
it.
good. Okay, thank y'all.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, come on up.
Yeah.
Y'all don't be shy, just jump up in here. We don't bite.
Ruthie Fisher, 2404 Broadway Drive. My statement is, I was here earlier, and the board voted, not you, well, not the new members, but the board voted to give every citizen, every Bossier City worker a raise, because there was a surplus. So my statement is, if there was a surplus and we were paying the money to have the surplus, and we were paying at the rate that we're paying now, and every Bossier City worker got a raise, now we're in a deficit. So the raise should have been found somewhere else instead of taking money in. So now you want us to pay money to make up for the raises that you have given the Bossier City workers. And from my standpoint, where I live, I don't see Bossier City workers doing anything. I personally had to call a street sweeper to come on my street. I ain't seen one in 5 years. I personally had to call someone to come and clean my ditch. Hadn't happened yet. So basically what I'm saying, if there was a surplus and you gave out a raise, now we're in a deficit. So the raise shouldn't have been given from the surplus. It should have been found somewhere else. The millage, somewhere else, money should have been found instead of now you want to raise the rates up on the sanitation and the garbage to support garbage pickup or sewage or whatever. I just feel like that, you're making decisions and you're not considering the citizens. I feel like you need to bring it back to the citizens, let us have a vote on it, and stop making decisions without giving us an answer to what we need to pay. Thank you.
And I'm her neighbor. I've been there 25 years, I've never
Takes
seen
trouble.
anybody cleaning anything. In fact, the ditch behind, and I'll give you my name in a minute. The ditch behind our house, we've done contacted his, secretary, Barbara, I think, twice. The Public Works Director, I think his name is Wade, he won't even return our phone calls. It's been grown up for 3 years, we've been calling for 3 years. It's down Montgomery Lane as a project, the ditch behind it is the ditch I'm talking about. We live on Broadway, which is the ditches in between these projects and our road. I got, the other day, my little grandson come up with a snapping turtle that big around, it could have probably bit his hand off. Possums, snakes, rats, all coming up in our yard. I have to try to catch them and get rid of them. It needs to be cleaned. And that's behind the Montgomery Lane projects, and it's in Miss Ross's district.
It is.
Yeah, and by the way, my name is Bruce Normand, 2412 Broadway Drive. And another thing, main reason I came up here is because this enterprise fee, is that something that's in addition to the public works fee that's already on my water bill?
They're the same fee.
The same thing?
Yes, sir.
Which she said was supposed to have been $12, well, mine's 36.
You have curbside trash collection.
It's what?
$24 is for your curbside garbage collection.
Okay, because I don't see, it used to be garbage on here separate, and now that's included in the public works?
If the $36, there will be a change to separate them
So
out.
it's 24 for sewer, 4 for my can, and,
24 for garbage collection,
yeah,
and then 12
plus 4 more for the trash can?
shouldn't be, unless you have additional trash cans.
No, it's not. It used to be separate on here. But anyway, okay, that's basically what I wanted to say. But that ditch is terrible. I've already told you where it's at, and like Ms. Fisher said, I hadn't seen anybody cleaning anything up. Our sidewalks are terrible and in disarray. And y'all keep talking about single family residents. Well, you can turn down North Side and go about 3 blocks, and that's some people there that's got 5 or 6 families per house. Just trucks parked everywhere. I'm not gonna say what nationality they are, but, there's a lot of houses around there that are not single-family residents. All right, thank
All
you.
right, thank you, sir. Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
I'm gonna bill y'all for pest control.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Christina Turnipseed. I live at Turnipseed just turn up and see. Don't be afraid. Everyone is. I live at 213 Avondale Lane, Bossier City, Louisiana, and I'm glad I don't live where they live because I have a very nice neighborhood. However, the $12 increase, now this is going to help the city, right? Because I heard people saying, oh, you know, the owners of the buildings are gonna have extra money. Nobody's gonna have extra money, right? It's to help us pay for things, right? So nobody's pocketing money, right? Okay, that would be awful. I don't know, I think it's a little upsetting that it just jumps up $12. I said, $12? Well, it could be worse. Because I'm all right, but I go to Stonewall Baptist Church, and we service the people in our neighborhood. We feed, we give clothes, we do everything. Or we don't do everything, but you know, we service the people. So I'm concerned about people living in the buildings. I used to live, you know, in Chicago in the ghetto. It wasn't fun. And I don't know, $12 means more to some people than others. So we're concerned about the people who go to our church. God has blessed us, you know, generously, but we are concerned. Now, it sounds like it has to be. It doesn't sound like there's a lot of room around. And thank you for explaining everything. But we do want to make sure everything's being done only because it has to be done, because $12 is a lot of money to some people. I'm sure we all recognize that, right? And I am concerned. And we thank Miss Deborah Ross that always comes around. She even does line dancing with us, so she's not like far off from us. But I guess when we go back to our church, we'll have to explain that it sounds like maybe it has to be, as long as it does, right? Okay, then, as long as it has to be. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do want to say, it's not a $12 increase. Ms. Nottingham, what was the fee prior to the amendment that was passed in December?
It is $12. So it was $24. That included curbside trash collection.
Oh, so it did jump up $12?
It did,
Okay.
right. And so, and then we did adjust to levy it in the same way that the EMS fee is. So by individual, you know, individual residents. And it has, you know, I feel like maybe there's some confusion that this is something that is coming, but it has been in place since February. So the residents have been seeing that since their March bill. They have been charged, they've been assessed this fee.
Okay.
So.
All right, is there any other public comment? Yes, sir, come on up. Good evening.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor. I think one of the things I wanted to address was that.
Can you give your name and address?
Oh,
for the
I'm
record?
sorry. My name is Glenn Hawley. I live at 2323 Melrose Avenue in Green Acres in Bossier City. And I think one of the main things I wanted to address was, yes, our garbage was always $24 a month, and then the $12 additional made it $36. But I think the thing that concerns me is we don't always get what we're paying for. I can't tell you how many times, and my city councilman, I've called him on a number of occasions, and he is doing what he needs to do. And I've seen him do it. I have seen him make phone calls. I was standing there. And things are not getting taken care of. And I see him drive through my neighborhood all the time, and he is reporting various things, but it's not getting handled. I can't tell you how many times trash pickup is horrible. And don't ask them to, well, you know, I think I'm comparing, a friend of mine cleaned out some houses. He works for an estate company, and he cleans out houses for people when they're left homes, and people will hire them to go in and clean out homes and conduct sales. They put 14 garbage bags out of contractor garbage bags, and even small pieces of small furniture. That garbage pickup in Shreveport picked it up in a moment, not one hesitation. They did another home like that, 12 bags. I saw it in another neighborhood there in Shreveport. Their trash sanitation department picked it up, no hesitation. And I think the thing that concerns me is if you put one additional thing outside by your trash can, they will overlook it and leave it sitting there and only pick up your trash. And I think this is, and I'm trying to say this respectfully, but it's inexcusable. And Shreveport pays $7 a month for trash pickup, and we're paying $36, and they won't even pick it up, but they'll pick up 14 garbage bags of things. That's not right. I'm from Magnolia, Arkansas, but I was raised in Gonzales, Louisiana. I called Ascension Parish today, where I was raised. And I said, how much do y'all charge for trash pickup? She said, huh? It's evidently a part of a bond issue. It was when I was a child. It's either a bond issue or a sales tax, and they do it twice a week. And we pay $36 a month, and we're not getting everything handled. I want you to drive through the neighborhood sometime. There are chairs and different things that people set out that are larger than what our trash pickup does, not Shreveport. And it will sit there a month. There are things that I've noticed in the neighborhood sitting there for a month and has yet to be picked up. And we want to keep Bossier beautiful. So if we want to keep it beautiful, let's get it handled. And I would really appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lennerton Brooks, and I live at 449 Plaza Circle. And I happen to be one of the rare people who the services in Boulder I find to be more than adequate. I come from Milwaukee. I've been in other places, and as far as Bossier is concerned, I am at Bossier. I get good service. I know that is an individual, and it doesn't represent, everyone here. That's just the way it is. I'm here for clarification. We're talking about an increase of $12, and from my understanding, what I'm hearing, I own a single residency, and I shall get a $12 increase. And if someone else owns a 12-unit complex, he's only going to get a $12 increase, or will each individual unit be charged that $12 also? That, I just want clarification.
Currently, each individual unit is being assessed at $12. The ordinance that the council is set to vote on tomorrow would give these large multifamily units time to adjust, their residents' time to adjust their rental rates to accommodate for it, but every unit is paying the 12 individual dollars.
Right now, they're paying the 12.
Currently, yes, sir.
Could you elaborate on that? Will be given time? I'm asking because I'm looking at, we have this, as individuals, we have this concept of fairness. The issue may not be $12, because again, as it was adequately stated, that $12 is not equal across the board to everyone, but the concept of fairness is. And I believe, for me, is one of the sticking points as to, if I'm understanding what's going on here, is the issue in reference to everyone paying their fair share.
Yeah, so, do you want to answer, Mr. Cochran?
I don't mind trying to. So the pause was, again, more along the lines of the logistics of everything. We all know, or should know, that most of these places aren't 100% occupied. They either got services that they're doing to a place or they don't. And they may be 100% occupied, but we don't have a mechanism intact right now that can go around and check and make sure, and just calling them up every month and saying, hey, what's your occupancy rate? We can't really do that either. And for billing, it's not. So the pause was more or less to get all the logistical stuff worked out. The 80-20 split came from the national average. Now, that could be argued either way, but I think that that may help you with the 80-20 split. And then the pause was just simply to get it to the right people. If you overnight or in 1 month levy on to the apartment owners the increase, well, his leases haven't gone up that exact month either, okay? So, and it's not giving a discount to the rich white guys or the rich apartment owners or any of that. It's simply just a pause to get it worked out so that the administration, the city council can take a look at it. Because I don't want to speak for the 4 new ones here. We've been here long enough for a cup of coffee. But I did promise that anytime a tax or a fee was going to come up, that I'd take a deep dive into it. This is the one that came across our desk at this time. I don't know if that helps any.
On another note, did I understand there are about 6,000 rental units we're talking about?
6,000 apartment complexes.
6,000
Or apartment units.
units.
Yes, you're
So
right.
they've taken into consideration how much revenue that's expected to be generated from that
Correct. It's approximately $80,000 per month.
with the 6,000 units included in that?
That's it for the apartment. That's what the $12 levied on each unit for apartment complexes or assisted living facilities generates.
Okay, and then 18 seconds. Having went through this with Milwaukee when they gave their employees raises and early retirements, and it generated this huge deficit, and it was attached to the property taxes. And it is far more easier to simply raise the value of property and increase property taxes without input from the citizens, and that's how it was handled. Unfortunately, we're the ones that had to bear the burden. So I had a piece of property that went from 50,000 to 124,000, and I had no input into it, you know, the creative math. And I just don't want to end up in that scenario again. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comment. All right, is there any additional comments? Be sure to state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Maribel Segura, and I live at 192 Cullum Drive in Bossier City, Louisiana. I'm from up north, so when I got my bill and I see everything jumbled into it, it makes me nervous. I'm like, oh my God, what is all these fees? And now you're adding the $12 fee, but is it is there a way where you can increase it slightly per year, where it's not just a lump sum fee? Because $12 is a lot for someone. And down here, people do not make a lot of money. Unfortunately, I'm learning this the hard way. The jobs don't pay people what they're worth, so you're stuck in trying to survive. So I just think that $12 is a bit much, and I do live in a good neighborhood, I have to say, but it's unfortunate that we have to go through these little changes to get to the sweet spot, even though nobody's really benefiting or taking the money, it's going to a service. However, if they increased everyone's salary and then they created a deficit, that was not thought out properly. They should have really looked at that to see if, okay, we give all these people raises or space them out. 6 months here, let's see what we got going on. In another 6 months, we give the rest of the people raises. Not to say they don't deserve a raise, but they should have really looked at and planned that out properly so that the homeowners are not stuck with increased bills. I mean, taxes went up, property values went up, so there's a lot of little things, and the raises around here and the rate that people get paid is not adequate at all. That's all. So I just hope y'all consider that.
I will.
Thank you.
Can we explain the?
Hold on. I want to.
Yeah, I think it'll
You
help.
can have a seat. I'm just going to make a general comment to the public, and Ms. Nottingham may want to come clean it up when I'm done. But, so, one, the $12 is already in the bill. You've been paying that since February. There's renewed curiosity about it, which is why we're doing the public workshop. But we voted on this in December of 2024. We had 2 meetings on it, and so, quite frankly, I don't think anybody came and spoke at those 2 meetings, either in favor or opposition. On the raises, so, and to your point, ma'am, there were city employees that were making less than a McDonald's worker, and that was not satisfactory to me or to any of my colleagues that sat up here on this dais back last year. And Mayor Chandler, it was something that him and I, Ms. Nottingham, we worked on for years to get pushed through. We did a salary study, and we didn't pay anybody an exorbitant raise. We brought all city and workers up to what the salary study said was their market minimum. That's it. They're getting paid the market minimum for their job, which is still not enough. Frankly, we probably need to give them a raise in this next budget cycle, but we have to do things smartly. Now, when someone asked about the surplus and put us in a deficit, we've been in a deficit in this enterprise fund for 4 of the last 5 years. So the deficit is nothing new to 2025 or 2024. It is something that we have been struggling with before Tommy Chandler was elected mayor, or Brian Hammonds, Chris Smith, Vince Maggio were elected on the city council in 2021. We had a deficit here. And so we're just trying to fix a problem. The surplus that was talked about came from our general fund balance. It's money that we have wisely spent and saved over the years. That's where our surplus is at. And that, we could, correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Nottingham, we could probably go another 2 years and not generate a single penny in revenue and still pay our employees, because our predecessors were financially smart when it came to saving money, and they've left us a good cushion in case we have downtime. But if you rob from the general fund to pay an enterprise fund, you do it once, well, it's way too easy to do it a second time or a third time, and then before you know it, that general fund balance is completely gone, and you're sitting there wondering, well, my gosh, how are we going to pay for this? Then your only option is to cut services. At least right now, currently, Bossier City is in a place to where we're not having to even consider cutting services because we have a cushion to fall back on, but we cannot rely on that. That is poor financial management to rely on that long term. And so as far as our employees, I will stick up for the employees of Bossier City every single day and twice on Sunday. They're currently underpaid. Now, we can argue whether contractors, Live Oak, the sanitation, they are not employees of the city. That is a third-party contractor. Now, we can have an argument whether we should look at that and speak to their ownership group about the services that they're providing the citizens of Bossier, and that's a conversation we can have, but those aren't Bossier City workers. And in any job, you're going to have knuckleheads, right? Like, not everybody is perfect. And we probably have some of those, but we have men and women who work extremely hard, extremely long hours for this city, and they, quite frankly, could go do a much easier job for more money, and they choose to work here. And we need them. We need these employees. And so I don't want anybody to say that because somebody got a very small raise last year that now everybody's having to pay $12 per unit. That's just not based in fact or reality. So,
Do you want me to explain enterprise just real quick, the difference? I mean, super
Sure.
quick. This is just so everybody can kind of understand on that side. So the enterprise fund is just those services. And in government, you want your enterprise funds to always break even every year. That's the goal, because it's giving you trash, giving you water. And if I butcher this, please come help. But our actual city is doing great. We're financially sound. It's this one account that we're having to pay more from our big budget to pay for this one small enterprise. So the city's doing fine, and we're in a good spot, but we're not breaking even for your trash, for your beautification, and we're losing money every year and having to supplement from our big budget to pay this one fee that should be breaking even, because everybody needs these things. We have to have trash. If we don't, we're talking like Mr., I think it was Glenn, or what's your name, sir? But that's he was saying, I mean, we want to have these services, but these are things we're always gonna break even on. We don't wanna make a penny off of it's supposed to be exactly to the penny. And we're behind right now, so we have to break even. That way we never have to go into our big actual fund that's running the city every day. So hopefully that kind of makes a little bit more sense.
Mr. Jacobs?
And I'm going to echo the words of Mr. Smith and Mr. Gerard. An enterprise fund has to support itself.
That's right.
We have some that have been established by the charter, some that have been established by state legislation. This was an enterprise fund that was established by city ordinance. And so the amount of money that that fund brings in must pay for the services that that department supplies. If you borrow money from the general fund to support an enterprise fund, then by operation of law, at some point, that has to be paid back. And that's basically where we're at
Yeah,
right now.
thank you.
Did you need to clean anything up, or did we handle it?
Did we have another?
Okay.
I think we have another speaker.
Ms. Ruth?
Ruth Pope Johnston, Old Green Acres, Bossier City, 71111. I am not going to comment one way or the other, but I do want to say this. Our sincere thanks and appreciation for you all doing this meeting. I think it's an excellent meeting. I think there's excellent exchange from the people, and I just cannot say enough how much we appreciate it. Great job, great way to start. Thank you, Matt. And I also wanted to mention, I know that Mr. Smith has a town hall coming up, and great job. Thank you for doing it. Thanks for including the people. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms.
We
Ruth.
can give her more time. Time she wants.
Good evening.
To everyone. My name is Dorothy Murphy, and I live at 3214 Biston Drive, right on the corner of Northgate. I have a main hole, I guess that's what you call it, in my backyard, and I'm losing ground in the back. I guess the pipes that's in my backyard is deteriorating. So anyway, I'm losing ground back there. Snakes is coming, huh?
Culvert going into a ditch in your backyard?
Yeah, it's forming a ditch behind my house. And the snakes that's be in my backyard, so, I'm kind of afraid to go in my backyard at times. And also, my second question is, right there on Northgate, on the city side, what I want to know is the city going to mow that yard? Are they going to, mow the city side? That's what I'm talking about. Because when I have my yard cut, I have to pay extra for that city side. So what I want to know is because I'm right down from Kerr Elementary, they'll go down there, cut the city side behind Kerr Elementary, and that's it. The rest of it, we have to do it ourselves. They cut on Airline Drive, so I don't understand why they're not hitting Northgate. Is there a problem with that?
We can find out.
Yeah.
You'll find out?
We'd have to see who owns it. And
Hmm?
we'd have to see who owns it.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate that.
Ma'am,
Thank
what
you.
was that? What was your
Yeah,
your
get-
street address?
What's
the
your
number?
address again? She'll be able to help
She
you.
didn't hear your address.
Figure it out.
Okay. It's 3214 Biston Drive.
Thank you, ma'am.
I want to make sure that we turn that into Public Works.
Good evening.
Good evening, I'm Geneva Williams, 1210 Gibson Circle, Bossier City, of course. But my question is, I think that ditch she's talking about, it travels on around behind my house. I'm afraid, well, it's a fence, a ditch, and Barksdale base. I'm afraid to go in my backyard. I've seen snakes. And when I'm kind of frustrated, but anyway, the mosquitoes from that ditch, I cannot come out after the sun goes down. And then when the spray man comes around, he'll spray coming in, but when I'm on the opposite side. When he come around, he shuts it off and cross over to Gibson Drive. And I'm like, the mosquitoes about to run me off. And the snakes from that ditch. I don't know if y'all deal with Barksdale Base, but please have them to spray that ditch, because, mosquitoes and snakes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment?
Is that a real song?
It is a real sign.
Going once.
I know exactly where.
Any more public comment? Going twice. All right. What I will say is something that we learned here is, while the men and women who work in Public Works do a phenomenal job, and we do a lot with what we have, we clearly have room for improvement, but we are spending every dollar that we have. And so while we want everybody to be perfectly happy, it is important that we live within inside our budget, which is really the point of this whole evening tonight, was to know what that budget number is. The council appreciates you coming, participating. It kind of warms my heart because this is the most people that have been at a council meeting in 4 years, unless it's something super controversial. So just having a good dialogue. So we appreciate you. We're here tomorrow at 3 o'clock and every other Tuesday after that at 3 o'clock. So if you have,
I will get the slideshow updated with those numbers corrected, and we will get that posted, so the public will have access to it.
okay.
Just
You're
through the
good?
city website?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you want this, I'm assuming on the Agenda Center where you can get a copy of the agendas where it'll be posted? Okay, so we'll get this updated and it'll be on the Agenda Center for you to download if you want a copy of it. Other than that, if there's nothing else, then we will get out of here. Y'all have a good evening. Thank you.
Thanks.